Ready for a wild one today? We're diving into transhumanism.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, where like science fiction is becoming reality. We're talking 10 advancements that are happening right now.
Right now.
They could totally like redefine what it means to even be human.
Yeah, it's a fascinating field. It really is, because it goes way beyond just like cool gadgets and gizmos,
Right.
Transhumanism is all about fundamentally upgrading like our capabilities.
Okay.
Longer lifespans, sharper minds, you name it.
Okay, so less about like becoming robots, more about really pushing the limits of our own potential as humans.
Exactly.
And we're talking about actual research here.
Yes.
Not just like daydreams, right?
Not at all.
This isn't just theoretical anymore.
Not at all. No, Elon Musk's Neuralink, for example, is already making huge waves with their brain-computer interfaces.
Brain-computer interfaces.
Yeah, BCIs. BCIs, the goal is a direct connection between your brain and a computer.
So no more keyboards and touchscreens.
Yeah.
You just think it happens.
Exactly. Imagine controlling your smart devices, your prosthetics, even software, all with your thoughts.
Wow.
Yeah.
The accessibility implications are huge.
Huge. Yeah, and that's, I think, what makes this field so compelling is the potential to help people in ways we haven't even thought of.
Exactly.
Someone who's lost mobility could regain control, for example.
Right.
Precisely, Neuralink is in human trials as we speak.
Wow.
Aiming to give people with paralysis the ability to move and communicate again.
Just by thinking.
Just by thinking. We could see this technology changing lives very, very soon.
That's incredible, but I have to admit,
Yeah.
the idea of a chip in my brain is a little unnerving.
Yeah.
Like, how do we even begin to address the security risks of something like that?
It's a valid concern. It's uncharted territory, right?
Right.
And alongside the incredible, potential benefits come very complex ethical and societal questions we really need to address.
Okay, so moving from, enhancing our minds to enhancing our lifespans, what about the idea of slowing down or even reversing aging?
Yeah.
Is that even remotely possible?
Dr. David Sinclair at Harvard is exploring exactly that.
Okay.
His research focuses on aging not as this fixed process,
Right.
but one we can influence at the genetic level.
So instead of just managing the effects of aging,
Right.
he's trying to control the underlying cause.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
How does that even work?
He's looking at activating genes that protect our cells from damage and potentially even reverse the aging process.
So like finding the off switch for aging.
Think of it like an off switch. Yeah, for aging.
That's a game changer.
It is.
What kind of impact could that have?
It could redefine our concept of a normal lifespan.
Wow.
What if 150 years old was the new 70?
Okay.
And it's not just about living longer.
Right.
It's about extending the period of our lives where we're healthy and active.
That's a key distinction.
Yeah.
Right? Not just more years, but better years.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about enhancing our minds and bodies individually, but what about the combined power of human and artificial intelligence?
Yeah. AI is already transforming our world, but transhumanism takes it a step further.
Okay.
Imagine AI not just as a tool, but as an extension of our own minds.
It's a bit like having a superpowered search engine plugged directly into your brain.
Yes.
Capable of processing information and solving problems at unimaginable speeds.
That's the idea.
Wow.
And it circles back to what we were discussing with Neuralink.
Okay.
Imagine connecting our brains directly to advanced AI.
Yeah.
The potential for problem solving, even creativity, is enormous.
It's both exhilarating and a little daunting to think about the possibilities.
Yeah, it is.
Especially given how quickly this technology is advancing. Take CRISPR, for example.
Right.
Feels like every other day there's a new breakthrough in gene editing.
It's groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Because it gives us the ability to edit genes with incredible precision.
Okay.
Like using a microscopic pair of scissors to snip and paste DNA sequences.
I know it's being used in clinical trials
Yeah.
to target and potentially eliminate certain diseases, like some types of cancer.
Right.
What makes CRISPR different from previous gene editing methods, though?
It's the precision and versatility.
Okay.
CRISPR allows us to target specific genes with an accuracy we've never had before.
Wow.
We could potentially cure genetic diseases that were once considered untreatable.
Right. But if we can edit genes to cure diseases, it's not a far jump to imagine editing genes for enhancement.
It's true.
And that raises a whole host of ethical questions.
You're right. As with many of these advancements,
Yeah.
the potential benefits of CRISPR are huge.
Right.
But we need to be so mindful of unintended consequences.
It's a lot to consider.
It is.
And it feels like we're just scratching the surface here. Speaking of pushing boundaries,
Okay.
what about the advancements we're seeing in prosthetics?
Yeah.
The technology has come a long way from the clunky artificial limbs of the past.
Absolutely. We're now talking about bionic limbs that are controlled by your thoughts.
Ah.
They provide sensory feedback
Yeah.
and could soon even surpass the capabilities of natural limbs.
So we're talking superhuman strength,
Potentially, yeah.
speed, agility.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like something out of a comic book.
It does, doesn't it?
Where is this technology now?
The technology is advancing so rapidly.
Okay.
We're already seeing prosthetic limbs that can feel pressure and temperature,
Really?
making them feel much more natural to use.
Wow.
And as the technology continues to improve, we can expect to see prosthetics that grant users extraordinary abilities.
We were just digging into like all these amazing advancements in prosthetics.
Yeah.
But what about the idea of regenerating our own limbs or organs?
Okay.
Is that even on the table?
It's a field with incredible potential.
Okay.
Companies like Ajax Therapeutics
Mhm.
are working on therapies that could allow our bodies to repair and regenerate damaged tissues,
Wow.
much like a salamander regrowing a lost tail.
Okay. That's just cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what's the science behind this?
Sure.
How would that even work in humans?
It comes down to understanding and manipulating the signals that control cell growth and regeneration.
Okay.
We already know our bodies can regenerate some tissues like skin
Right.
to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Ajax and others are trying to unlock that potential in other organs.
Okay, so instead of relying on transplants, which are limited by like organ availability and rejection risks and all that,
Exactly.
we could potentially just regrow a new heart or liver.
That's the long-term goal.
Oh.
Imagine the impact on healthcare.
Yeah.
If we could regenerate damaged heart tissue after a heart attack
Right.
or a failing liver due to disease,
Mm.
it could revolutionize medicine and significantly extend our healthy lifespans.
It's mind-boggling to think about the possibilities.
It is.
And while we're on the topic of extending lifespans,
Yeah.
what about the concept of, well, living forever?
Okay.
Digitally, at least.
You're talking about mind uploading, the
Right.
idea of transferring our consciousness into a digital form.
Mm.
It's a concept that's been explored in science fiction for decades.
Right.
But now it's starting to gain traction in scientific circles.
I can see why it's so captivating.
Yeah.
To have your mind exist independently of your physical body
Right.
raises all sorts of philosophical questions.
It does.
What are the chances of this actually happening?
It's still highly theoretical.
Okay.
But some researchers believe that if we can map the connections and processes of the brain
Mm-hmm.
in sufficient detail, we might one day be able to create a digital replica of our consciousness.
It's like something out of a movie.
I know.
What are the ethical considerations of something like mind uploading, though?
Oh, it's so complex.
Right.
Would a digital copy of your consciousness truly be you?
Right.
What rights and protections would a digital consciousness have?
Yeah.
These are questions we'll need to grapple with as the technology develops.
It's certainly making me rethink my definition of what it means to be human.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
We've talked about enhancing our minds and bodies internally, but what about augmenting our physical capabilities externally?
That's where exoskeleton technology comes in.
Okay.
Essentially, we're talking about wearable robots that can enhance our strength, endurance, and mobility.
I've seen videos of those.
Yeah,
They look like something straight out of a science fiction film.
they do.
Are they actually being used outside of research labs?
Absolutely. They're already being used in various industries like manufacturing and construction
Okay.
to help workers lift heavy objects safely and reduce the risk of workplace injuries.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What about applications in healthcare?
Yeah, exoskeletons are showing great promise in assisting people with mobility impairments.
Yeah.
We're talking about helping people walk again who haven't been able to for years.
It's amazing to see how these technologies, which seem so futuristic, are already having a real-world impact.
I know, it's incredible.
Earlier, we touched on 3D bioprinting,
Right.
creating human tissues and organs in a lab.
Yes.
What are the latest advancements in that field?
Bioprinting is rapidly advancing. Scientists have already successfully bioprinted skin grafts for burn victims.
Wow.
And they're making progress towards creating more complex organs like kidneys, livers, and even hearts.
So we're talking about potentially eliminating the organ transplant waiting list altogether.
That's the ultimate goal.
Wow.
Imagine a future where if you need a new organ, you can just have one bioprinted,
Right.
eliminating the need for donors and the risk of organ rejection.
It sounds too good to be true. But it's incredible to think about the lives that could be saved and improved with this technology.
I know.
It feels like we're on the cusp of a medical revolution.
We certainly are.
Wow. And that brings us to our final advancement.
Okay.
One that sparks just as much debate as it does hope.
Okay, let's hear it.
Cryonics.
Cryonics.
You mean the idea of preserving your body after death?
Yes.
In the hopes of being revived in the future.
Exactly. It's a long shot.
Right.
A bet on future technology.
Yeah.
But it highlights the lengths to which we're willing to go to overcome our mortality.
I can see why it's so polarizing.
It is.
It challenges our fundamental understanding of death and what it means to be alive.
Right.
What are the chances that cryonics could actually work?
The science is still in its infancy, and mainstream science remains skeptical. However, cryonics advocates believe that as our understanding of the brain and our ability to repair cellular damage at the molecular level advance, revival might one day be possible.
It's a fascinating concept, but
Yeah.
it definitely raises more questions than it answers.
For sure.
It makes you think about what it truly means to be alive and whether death is a hurdle we can or even should try to overcome.
Exactly.
We've spent the last 2 parts of this deep dive really going deep on these mind-bending advancements
Yeah.
in science and tech,
It has been a lot.
from merging our minds with AI to potentially regenerating our own organs. It's a lot to take in,
It is.
and it makes you really think about the future we're creating.
Yeah, it's not just about the wow factor of these advancements.
Right.
It's about the implications they hold for humanity.
Yeah.
We've touched on some ethical considerations
Correct.
throughout our conversation,
Uh-huh.
but it's worth really emphasizing the importance of navigating this new terrain thoughtfully.
Yeah, it feels like we're at a crossroads
We are.
where science is giving us tools of unprecedented power,
It really is.
but it's up to us to decide how to use them responsibly.
Exactly. Take Neuralink, for example.
Okay.
The potential to help people with disabilities is enormous.
Huge.
But what about the potential for misuse?
Right.
Could this technology be used to manipulate people's thoughts or invade their privacy?
Mm-hmm.
These aren't easy questions to answer,
Yeah.
but they're so essential to consider.
And it's not just about preventing those negative outcomes.
Right.
It's about ensuring equitable access to these advancements.
Absolutely.
If we're talking about life extension or cognitive enhancement,
Yeah.
we have to ask ourselves,
Yeah.
will these technologies be available to everyone, or will they just exacerbate the existing inequalities that we already have?
It's a crucial point.
Yeah.
We've seen throughout history that technological advancements often benefit a select few
Right.
and leave others behind. It's so essential to be mindful of these disparities as we go further into transhumanism.
It's almost like we're writing a new social contract for humanity.
Yeah.
If we have the potential to fundamentally change what it means to be human,
Right.
we need to make sure those changes are good for everyone.
For everyone, exactly.
Right.
And that requires these open and honest conversations
Yeah,
about our values, our fears, and our hopes for the future.
for sure.
We need to approach these advancements with excitement, but also a healthy dose of caution.
It's a balancing act.
It is.
But even with all the uncertainties,
Yeah.
one thing's for sure,
What's that?
we're entering an era unlike any other in human history.
Absolutely. And as we stand on the brink of this new frontier, it's up to us to shape it in a way that benefits all of humanity.
That is a great note to end on.
I think so.
This deep dive has been quite the journey,
It has.
and I hope it's inspired our listeners to really contemplate the future and their place in it.
Indeed. It's a future full of possibilities.
Yeah.
And it's up to each of us to engage in thoughtful reflection and dialogue as we navigate this uncharted territory of transhumanism.